Hello guys, welcome to the C++ tutorial series. In this video, we'll learn about iteration statements or loops in C++. My name is Kafui and welcome to my channel Multi.dev. Please subscribe and like to help the channel grow and turn on the bell notification icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. With that said, let's begin. When we talk about loops in C++, they are used to perform or execute a piece of code multiple times. The code in the loop executes one or multiple times based on the condition and the statement. So the first loop we'll talk about, or the first statement we'll look at, is the for loop, and this is the syntax. So you write the for keyword, and then in parentheses you first of all initialize a variable. So you initialize a variable. For this example, I'll say int I to let's say 1, and then with semicolon you have to bring your condition. So I'll say as far as I is less or equal to 10, then another semicolon, then you have to bring your iteration expression. So I want to increment the value of I, so I'll say I plus plus, or better still I can say I equals I plus 1. So the shortcut or the short form is to use the iteration operator, which is what? I plus plus. And then out of the parentheses, in curly braces, you put your block of code or the logic you want to what? Perform multiple times. So let me write this out. I'll just say std cout. I want to say the value of I, let me use capital I, is, then I want to output I, and then use this escape to escape and put them on different or separate lines and save my code. So let me explain this again. So I want to count from 1 to 10. So I want to use what? Loops. So I'm saying that for using the for keyword in parentheses, that's when we put we initialize our variable, and then our condition, and then our iteration expression. So I'm initializing a variable I to 1, and then my condition is as far as the value of I is less than 1, is less than 10, then increment the value of what? I. So when I run my code, hopefully we see what? 1 to 10 outputted in the console. So we have the value of I is 1, the value of I is 2, up to what? The value of what? 10. So this is how we can use the for loop or the for statement to perform an action multiple times. So I can go ahead and say I want to count 5 times. When I run, we count 1 to what? 5, as you can see in the console. So when the loop is iterating and the value of I is no more less or equal to 5, let's say it is equal to 6, it means the condition is what? False, and the code will execute, or the code will break out of what? That loop. So that is how the for statement or for loop works. The next statement we want to look at is the while statement. So the while statement, this is the syntax. So first of all, I'll initialize a variable, let's say int x to what? 1. I still want to count from 1 to 10. So using the while keyword in parentheses, that's where we put our condition. So over here I'll say as far as x is less or equal to what? 10. Then out of the parentheses in curly braces, we put our logic or the piece of code we want to perform. So I'll just print something to the console, std cout, and say the value of x is, and then x, and then terminate it. So now after that, after writing the code we want to perform multiple times, we have to bring our expression, our iteration expression. So I'll say x plus plus, or s is equal to x plus 1. And mind you, we can use the decrement operator to, or the decrement operator to, in order to count what? Backwards. Well, I'll do that shortly for us to see. So I'll go ahead and then run my code, and we see that x is counted from 1 to 10, which is executed in the console for us. So this condition over here must be truthy or must result into true before the code in the curly braces must run. When we omit this iteration expression over here, it will result in what we call an infinite loop. It means our condition will continue to execute all over and all over again. And if you are not on a powerful machine or a powerful computer, your computer might even end up freezing out. So in case I want to count backwards, so I'll just initialize the value of x to 10, and I'll say that as far as x is greater or equal to let me say 1, then I want to decrement it. So let me use the decrement operator, and decrement is not underscore, decrement it. And when I run this code, the value of x will start from 10 downwards, or 10 to 1. When I run this code successfully, we get from 10, the value of x is 10, 9, 5, and then the last one is 1. So we can do the same thing in the for loop or the for statement over here. So that's it about the while statement. The next statement we'll look at is the do while statement. Let me comment this out. So the do while statement also is very similar to the while statement, but in this case the code inside the do statement to execute at least once. So this is the syntax. So I'll initialize a variable x is equal to 1, and the syntax is like this. We use the do keyword and we say do, then I'll just output something and say the value of x is, and then output the value of x. And then what we have to do is we have to bring our iteration expression. I'll say x plus plus. I'm incrementing the value of x plus with 1. I can increment it with 2. It depends on what you want. Or I can say x plus or equal to 2. And I can do the same thing in the for loop and then the while loop as well. I'm just trying to give you different variations. And then at the end of the do statement, we bring our condition, which will be in the while statement. So the condition will be as far as x is less or equal to 10, then we terminate it with semicolon, and I save this nicely. And then what we'll do is let's run this and see. So the value starts from 1. Since we are incrementing it with 2, don't forget this time around we are incrementing it with 2. So 1, then the next iteration it will add 2 to it. In the next iteration it will add 2 to it. Then until when it adds 2 to it and you see that the value is now more than 10, it makes this condition here falsy, and then it will break out of the loop, or it will terminate the loop. So this is how the do while statement also look like. But most at times the do while statement is rarely used and people don't use it as much, and it is mostly avoided. So you can use the while loop and then the for loop or the for statement. So that is it for this video. If you have any question, please put it in the comment section and I'll get back to you. With that said, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.